afternoon, everyone. Today I wanted to give a presentation on behavior management, the effects of positive feedback through positive reinforcement. My name is Courtney Gallagher and I attend Warner Pacific University. I wanted to begin this presentation by talking about why is behavior management important? What does it do? What are the goals of it? How come we're talking about it in the first place? Behavior management creates an effective learning environment. It's hard to teach when there's so many disruptions within the classroom. It aids in the student-teacher relationships, that forming of trust and honesty between the student and teacher, where the student knows that the teacher is able to offer them guidance and the teacher is able to take control of their classroom. It reduces disruptive behaviors within the classroom. Less disruptive behaviors means the teacher has to take less time redirecting or trying to get the class back in focus. It develops socio-emotional learning skills for the students, and it saves time with less disruptions and less hectic things going on within the classroom. The teacher has more time to do what they would like to do, which is teach. In the end, this ultimately benefits both teachers and students because students are getting more time to learn, feeling more supportive, feeling more confident in the relationship between the student and the teacher, and thus more confident relationship between the student and the school. This can increase their positive self-talk through building confidence, and they're getting more out of the school day than they were priorly when there were so many disruptive behaviors. So why am I bringing up this now? Why are we talking about behavior management? Why did I choose this topic? In a study done on the Washington State public school system, after COVID-19, when students began returning back to class, 84% of classes in the study reported a significant impact on the students' behavioral development. 87 reported negatively impacted students on their social-emotional development. 51% requested more support and resources in behavioral management. So when we talk about behavioral development and the impacts that teachers are seeing, 56 reported that classroom disruptions were happening from student misconduct. This can be acting up in class, putting feet on desk, talking out of turn, talking during presentations, asking inappropriate questions. 48% reported acts of disrespect towards staff and teachers. This can be from a couple of different things. This can be things like cussing at teachers, towards teachers, around teachers, blatant disrespect in telling them they're not going to do the assignments, or encompasses a whole umbrella of different acts of disrespect. 49% reported rowdiness in the classroom, more hyperactivity, less ability to focus and pay attention, and 42% said there was a large prohibited use of electronic devices. After COVID-19, when everything was online and everything was taught through electronic devices, I imagine it is hard to step away from the use of electronic devices once going back to school. But I can see how all of these different things could encompass a learning environment that's not very effective or productive. There weren't many studies done on barriers for implementing behavioral learning systems or management systems for the classroom. This is one study that I found and I wanted to talk about it. It's an exploratory analysis performed on a group of 33 different teachers who tried to implement different behavior management classroom systems and reported back on what the biggest barriers were. So the biggest barriers were implementation and then interventions. Implementation could include things like forgetting to use the system, the kids going on a classroom break and then coming back and forgetting to say something or do the system once they come back. It could also include things like substitute teachers coming in, willingness to try the system, them seeing that they don't feel there's really a need for it after a certain amount of time. Another big problem was the interventions. A lot of that is the student's acceptability of the behavior management system, or the time and duration it takes to implement the system, and the compatibility of the system that they used between teachers and students. But the two biggest barriers in general were implementation and then interventions. I would like to talk about positive feedback. In an article written by Dr. Hovington, it was shown that just 2 weeks after a teacher started to perform positive feedback, both in verbal and written forms, there were significant improvements for the students in interest levels, motivation, the student's attitude and relationship regarding school in general, the student-teacher dynamic in the classroom, the student's grades, and their confidence, which of course increases the positive self-talk of the student and tells them that they can really do this. Just using positive feedback can cause so many different outcomes for the student in a positive stance. And it's a really quick and easy way for teachers to implement some kind of behavior management system within their classroom. So we want to overcome these barriers. The implementation and the interventions aren't easy to overcome, so we need to find something that's efficient, easy to remember, and easy to follow through for a consistent amount of time. Positive feedback is a form of positive reinforcement, so we're aiming to increase the engagement, give students confidence, increase allotted time for discussions and instruction, and create a positive classroom environment for all of the students and the teacher as well. We want everyone to want to come to school, including the teachers who work there. We're aiming to perform positive feedback to increase the positive behaviors. This would naturally decrease the less desirable behaviors and create more time for the teacher to teach and the students to learn. So what are some examples of positive feedback? Let's talk about written examples. So a student gets an exam, the exam has 10 questions, the student gets 6 out of 10. Instead of writing -4 or 6 out of 10 in red, we can write a quick note on the paper that says, "Good job, you got 6 out of 10 correct." Even if the student only got 2 out of 10 correct, they're showing progress. It's important to note that progress, let the student know that we're identifying that we see that they're making progress. That will motivate the student. Next time they might want to try and get 3 or 4 or as many as they can correct to see that positive feedback. We are giving them verbal affirmations. Introducing new ideas. Sometimes we need to guide a student, and that's not always easy to do without making them feel like their idea was no good. We can say things like, "Thank you for that idea. How about," and then we can offer suggestions. So we want to validate them and their ideas and their input, and then correct the behavior. Supportive. We can simply say things like, "I love your feedback. I appreciate this." Strategic. "I really admire your effort to finish this activity." We're not commenting on what they got right and what they got wrong. We're commenting on the amount of effort they put in to finish the activity or to complete it or to work on it. And broad. Of course, there are ways that you can address the whole class and motivate them to sit quietly through lectures or help their participation, such as, "I noticed the class all participated in today's assignment. Good job, guys." You can also say things like, "I really appreciate how quiet you guys are being through this lesson. Thank you." It's the little things that you can say during the lesson that can help motivate the students. I think the bottom line here is that teachers are tired. It's difficult to implement more things through lesson planning and trying to correct behaviors and trying to decrease the amount of behaviors. So we need a system that's easy. We need something that we can use on an everyday basis, that can be implemented school-wide, and that will create a positive environment for them, not just in that class, but moving forward with school and their relationship with school. It's important to really find an effective way to manage the behaviors. And in doing so, we want to increase the engagement and provide less disruptions for the teachers in the future in a way that's easy for them to do. I really wanted to thank everyone for watching my video today, and my sources are listed below. There are a lot of different things I used. I also linked the article written by Dr. Hovington in the slide above if you would like to read that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment on my presentation.